Cecil B. DeMille, in his classic movie, The Ten Commandments, with Charlton Heston playing Moses, made the historical Nefertiti the wife of the historical Rameses, as played by Yul Brennor. In the movie, Nefertiti, played by Anne Baxter, had the hots for Moses but never married him. The historical Nefertiti, however, did not marry Rameses. She married Akhenaton, the pharaoh who founded the first monotheistic religion. According to the author and Egyptologist Ahmed Osman Akhenaten was in fact the historical Moses. Sir Cedric Hardwick, playing Sethi in Cecil B. DeMille's The Ten Commandents, said, "Let the name of Moses be stricken from every book and tablet, stricken from all pylons and obelisks, stricken from every monument of Egypt. Let the name of Moses be unheard and unspoken, erased from the memory of men for all time." But the name that was stricken from all Egyptian temples was not the name Moses but the name Akhenaton. There are many other curious facts which point to Akhenaton as being the Moses of the Bible. One unlikely source which archaeologists may have overlooked is the genealogy of the Patriarchs in the Book of Matthew. If we take the reign of Solomon to have begun in the year 972 BC, then we can figure out what a generation would be in the genealogy of Jesus in the Book of Matthew. From our knowledge that the birth of Christ occurred during a conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn in the year 7 BC, we can determine that a patriarchal generation is about 37.113 years. Based on the books of Ruth and Exodus, we know that Hiram in Matthew's genealogy would have been a contemporary of Moses. He lived circa 1306 BC, placing the Exodus about 30 years after the end of the reign of Akhenaton. The time of Moses marked the liberation of the Hebrews from the bondage of Egypt. In terms of archaeology, the most logical candidate for the Hebrews of the Bible would be the Hyksos, who were Canaanites who had conquered Egypt and ruled it for 100 years before they were overthrown by an Egyptian revolt. These Canaanites most certainly would have been enslaved after their kingdom in Egypt was overthrown circa 1540 BC. Their kingdom may have reached from the Nile to the Euphrates River, for after Egypt overthrew the Hyksos, the Egyptian Empire did reach from the Nile to the Euphrates River. Here is what the Egyptian Empire looked like in those days. Makes one wonder if the Exodus was more a matter of Egypt leaving the Hebrews than the Hebrews leaving Egypt, doesn't it? Matthew's timeline places Abraham in the year 1492 BC, at the very height of the Egyptian Empire under Thutmose I, 1493 to 1482, when it reached as far north as the Euphrates River. So did Israel go down into Egypt, or did Egypt come up to Israel? If Israel went down into Egypt, he would not have had to walk very far to get there. It was only a few miles from Damascus to Egypt in those days. Another thing that we can glean from Matthew's genealogy is that it is impossible for anyone to claim that God has given him the land of Israel. Simple Mendelian genetics tells us just this. For each generation from the time of Abraham would lose one half of Abraham's chromosomes. That is, Abraham's chromosomes would be diluted by half each generation. So by the time of Esrom, or the fifth generation onwards, only the male line could be certain of inheriting at least one chromosome from Israel, his Y chromosome. You cannot inherit Israel's Y chromosome from your mother. With the mass conversion of the Hazzars, the Berbers, and North African Arabs to Judaism during the Middle Ages, and the switching from a patrilineal descent system to a matrilineal descent system in Judaism following the rape of Judea by Rome in the year 70 AD, the seed of Abraham, if it ever existed, must have been totally wiped out by now. The only Jews to still practice a patrilineal descent system are the Cohens, and DNA studies have shown that the Cohens have Italian Y chromosomes.